Salve Forth Paladins, and welcome back to another episode of Starfleet Command, Orion Pirates. I'm Captain Tirak of the Dreadnought HMS Citadel as we continue our campaign against the Lyran Star Empire. And we have been, well, sort of trying to expand our foothold a little bit. Looks like we lost the territory here of 1-5 that I believe we took in the last episode, but we will get back to that in a little bit. We are going to secure the back lines, make sure that we don't actually lose connection to our home empire. And so with that in mind, let us set out into space and take on our first patrol. We're going to try and hunt down any enemy ships that we can find, secure the area so that our supply ships can move through without incidents, and then continue to just gnaw our way into the enemy. And it does appear that the Orion Pirates have been bugging our supply lines off here. We have an Orion battle cruiser of some description. It is an OBC, so despite the fact that it says heavy cruiser, it is lying to us. We'll get ourselves up to a reasonable assault speed. This dreadnought, being a light dreadnought, is rather quick, actually, for everything that it does. And I'm not... we can actually maintain, according to this, a speed of 22-ish. And all of our weapons are still charging, so we're going to turn into him. And first, we've also got... Oh, we've got another dreadnought. Okay, so now we've got a real fighter. Hence, it is a C5KR, so it's not exactly the biggest thing on the planet. Let's select our fusion cannons, set them to overload, and get our power to our forward shield. We are fast, we are nimble, but so is he. He might even be the carrier variant, although he has locked on to the heavy cruiser first. We're going to try and dart in on him, immediately see if we can't get some shots into his stern. If we can do a good enough job, we might be able to kill him before he finishes off this guy, and that might give us an opening to win. So a C5KR, let's send a probe, find out exactly what we're getting involved with, check how much additional power do we have. 12.7, I will take every ounce of that. We're going to go do electronic warfare and go up to a maximum of 6, and we're doing a speed of 19, okay. So according to this, we are looking at a grand total of 4 B-type missile racks and a single anti-missile defense system. I'm going to hold the fighter squadrons in reserve just for now. I could use them in harassment mode. Harass mode will tell them to stay at range, keep them outside that anti-missile defense range, and because they're equipped with hellbores, they're actually pretty good at it. So there is a thought there to be done. And as long as I'm thinking about it, I'm going to quickly set up our 4th weapon group. I hadn't had an idea of what to do with it, but I've decided I'm going to make it all of our mid to long range weaponry, and we're going to exclude the fusion cannons in it. So just in order to make it so that we have an option to engage somebody and hold the carronades in reserve. As it has been pointed out to me, the fusion cannon is a pretty perfect simulacrum of that ancient weapon system. Basically a very large, very heavy, but extremely short-range cannon used back during the Age of Sail. And one of the things about this game is this is supposed to be sort of tall ships in space. And so that's what we have fun with. So the battlecruiser hasn't seemed to have done too much to him. They both battered each other's shields a little bit, but I haven't seen any major damage to them. I saw a couple of plasma trails a little bit earlier on. I'm not sure if those plasma torpedoes he fired actually managed to hit. Defensive plasma torpedoes taking care of all the incoming missiles, and we're perfectly content to kind of let them sort of screw around off in the distance. I'm going to turn away, make it so that he doesn't feel like he needs to come in for me. He feels like, oh great. I wanted to keep you alive for a little bit more. Don't make me turn in on you. I will be able to gut you, and you can't stop me. I want to be able to focus on this dreadnought. Did you seriously just... From a range of 15, he fired a plasma torpedo which has an effective range of about 10. Yes, the AI, sometimes genius, sometimes not. Most times not. So let's see if we can't just put some distance into us. I'm going to kick on the engines for a little bit of additional power. We're going to burn away from them. Also, quickly turn off the camera lock so I can see, make sure I'm not going to smash into any sort of asteroids. Alright, and now I'm going to pull away. I want these two to just continue to engage each other. A C5 Dreadnought is actually pretty similar to us, but I'd like to not take too much damage on our way through. It's better if we can do this entire mission set without ever having to actually go home. So in order to do that, we're going to have to take the least amount of damage possible. And we are actually in a pretty okay position. What I could start doing is I could just start shelling it with my hellbores. They are more than capable of being able to do that. Although we are kind of taking power quite a bit. Alright, select the hellbores. We have 0 of an attack shift. Get me within a range of 25. We did get a hit on and only did a single point of damage. We will now turn away and slow our speed slightly to make sure that we're actually charging the hellbores. Yep, okay, all of them are indeed charging, so we'll kick up the power a little bit more. So he did take a single point of damage for that, but now he's got to focus on the incoming missiles. He had to deploy a Wild Weasel in order to avoid that one. Although our Orion battlecruiser is not having the best of days. He's lost his forward port and his forward starboard shields, whereas the C5 still has his forward starboard shield, but is missing his forward port. So again, going to play somewhat of a long-range spectator. We don't want to get ourselves into too dangerous a trouble. This battlecruiser could actually probably kill the Dreadnought if he actually played properly. So I'm going to let these two just duke it out. The battlecruiser will lose because it's in the hands of the AI, but the more they kill each other, the safer I'll be when I come in for my run. And in fact, we're in a pretty good position to do it here, so I'm going to actually start setting up for it. Our fusion cannon should be ready by the time we actually can make it into range. We've got a very light forward shield setup right now. I'm not super happy about it, but there's not a whole heck of a lot I can do about it. He's slowly accelerating after that Wild Weasel. He has no defense shift going on here. This battlecruiser should still be in a relatively good condition if we're completely honest with ourselves. Alright, all weapons select. We're going to wait till we're point blank range. We're going to do a striking pass. So blasting and pushing all the way out through the other side of the formation. I hear plasma. And it is directed at him. Alright, so wait for point blank range. 3, 2, 1, now. So nailing him as we strike through for 148 damage. That's got to make him an unhappy camper. And we're going to pull on through like that. And maintain our speed of 23. Yeah, we're not charging our weapons efficiently, or really at all, but that doesn't matter, because the important thing is we're going to get away from this target, and you two can keep duking it out with each other. His speed is down to 2.8, which means he can't get away. So now these two get to have all the best of times with each other. We're going to pull away and start slowing down now that we've got some distance in here, so we can start charging our weapon systems. Should have more than enough power to actually charge everything now at this point. Although, with that in mind, the fusion cannons only just came off cooldown and are only now starting to charge. That's not a function of us suddenly having additional power to put into them. That's a function of the fact that they had to spend a turn to cool down and reset. So I was kind of hoping that you two would actually try and kill each other, but apparently you're not going to. So we're going to start to cycle back in. So maintaining a slightly slower speed than before, but that allows us to maintain all of our defensive systems. So he's just having a bad day. Oh, we came in like the hammer of God. 148 damage. Plus he took an additional 2 from light damage from other places. So he can't be having a good day. In fact, I would wager he would not survive an additional pass. Send a probe. Let me know exactly what's the status of his anti-missile defense system. Oh, knocked out, you say. Hornets. Let's get in on this. So I'm going to send the Hornets at him, and then we're going to focus our actual firepower on the heavy cruiser. Also going to take a quick moment to prep our Wild Weasel. It's going to take 2 turns. By the time it's ready, we will already have either dealt with this threat or be in a position where it's not going to matter. But you never know, it might be useful later on. So fighters are now within range in order to get some decent data. And opening fire with their Hellbores, already doing 9 damage. Getting returned fire from Disruptors. More Hellbores for an additional 12. More Hellbores. Oh, just keep blazing away. You'll rip them apart eventually. It looks like they're going in close for their Gatling phaser runs. Gotta maintain our... Yeah, they got him. He does have D-type plasma torpedoes, which make things a little bit more difficult and dangerous. Probe. Oh, he doesn't have a charge. Oh, he has nothing. Okay, fighters, get on in there. So now that we're coming in for the cleanup run, and speed of 9, yeah, he's got major power problems. Should have a good angle on this. You are at 0, so let's come over here, and you can return to the ship. That way you'll be on board when everything explodes. Beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. So managing to get our fighters back, we are fully equipped. We took no major penetrating damage, hung on the outskirts of the fight the whole way, let them duke it out, came in for a gutting run, and then the fighters for the cleanup. If they hadn't had anti-missile defense systems, we could have been a bit more aggressive with those fighters, but still, 412 prestige is our reward, plus a tile taken. We're going to drop down here and secure this one, and then we'll pull back up here, grab this one. We probably should also grab, like, all of these, but I'm not going for a complete capture of the entire map. We're just going for a single empire. So, 2,958 prestige, what we're currently sitting on. We'll keep our eye out for that Iron Chancellor. I want something that has 24 fighters. That is amazing, and I'd really like to have it. So we'll kick ourselves up to our speed of 19, I believe it was. Yes, we are fair. Is it even faster than that? Oh, it is even faster than that. Lovely. So it is a speed of about 22. Oh, we dropped it down to about 19 so that we can overcharge the fusion cannons. So let's select the fusion cannons and set them to overload. And hopefully they're both charging. They do appear to be. So we're actually capable of maintaining a speed of 20 while overloading the fusions. Oh wait, no, I think we... Yeah, we've left a Hellbore behind by doing that. So 19 probably is actually our absolute speed charge. But now that systems are coming off, or now that systems are being fully charged and no longer sapping power, we should be fine. I'm going to, just in case, prep out a single Wild Weasel, and then also come over here to the electronic warfare. We're going to go up to full power. Just make it really difficult to try and hit us. Now, we are a giant target, so that is working against us, but with enough jamming, well, you're never going to touch us. That's not entirely true, but that's the hope anyway. So it is a single heavy cruiser. We're going to send a probe, starting to tax our power systems from a whole bunch of auxiliary power draws, but that's fine. A quartet of missiles, 4 phaser 1s, and 2 disruptors. We had a pair of phaser 3s, but who cares about that? With a setup that light, we're going to launch our fighters now. And, oh, he has fighters as well. Interesting. So we are giving coverage for our fighters. Our point defense systems could probably handle all of these fighters, but I'm going to focus everything we've got into the actual carrier itself. I'm hoping for basically just a gigantic crashing destruction assault. So 76 damage. Burn through that. Pull on through. Oh no, it looks like my fighters went after their fighters. Guys, come on. You were supposed to kill the carrier. We don't need to kill these. Alright, pull them back home. Actually, no, they probably have enough shots for one more run, but I'm going to tell them to get on home. I want to actually lose them. I have high confidence that had they stuck to the plan and actually attacked what I told them to attack, he'd be dead. Unfortunately, they decided that they were going to play Combat Air Patrol, which I suppose, on one hand, is very touching. They did want to save their mothership, but still. We had a chance to do something really cool. Alright. Right down the throat, and tore them apart. Well, that didn't take long at all. See, guys, it was pretty much a total waste to have done all that. Uh-oh. Oh, okay, good. I thought for a moment it had crashed because of the way that it had suddenly cut out the sound. Alright, up to the last of the tile in order to reconnect with the rest of our assault line. We shall have the entire spear aiming right to the heart of the Lyran Star Empire. And at the tip of it is the tile that we had stolen from them that just so happened to have a star base. Okay, we have a single GEN, the USS Celerity with us, and I lied. No, we have an additional ship, the HMS Testament. So we're being escorted by actually 2 ships and a couple of fighters so far. Kick us up to speed. We are squaring off against a freighter, and a freighter, and another freighter. A whole bunch of freighters. Oh, was this a convoy assault? Oh, it was, and I wasn't paying attention. That, however, is a C7 battlecruiser, or C7... Yeah, it is a C7 battlecruiser. So we're going to get ourselves up to speed in order to chase after him. Let's make sure that we set our fusion cannons to the overload. And I'm really tempted to send my fighters after the main group. But no, we're going to sprint down on this C7. The C7 is slightly larger and more powerful than the D7. And you can actually tell it has additional engine pods in back. The difference between the two is rather striking. Also, there's built-up armoring and defense along the neck. This GEN should really pull back, because I can take care of them. But the GN's going to have trouble. More speed and more power. As soon as the Hellbores are up, I will go up to as maximum speed as I can maintain, which may actually be 31. Alright, we appear to be at as fast as the ship will go. Not quite 30, unfortunately. So overcharging the fusion cannons makes things a little bit more squirrely when it comes to how much speed you can actually get out. So in the meantime, we're going to set up our electronic countermeasures to maximum. It won't actually charge up, but that's the setting we're going to be at. And we'll also give our forward shields additional power. Anything that's spare, you can go into there. But we're going to dive on top of the C7 and nail them with all the firepower we've got. And you're an FQL. You actually do have defenses. And we're actually squaring off against several lighter several former frigates. So things could get a little bit ugly. Make sure this alert. Yep, it's not actually going to be in front of us, so we're fine. And there goes our GEN, unfortunately. So my intention is to basically bomb him with everything I've got and follow up with a fighter strike. Now, it does appear that he did take some damage internally, so his shields are not fully intact. Wait, oh no, you're pieces of the ship. I thought for a second that we had another frigate somewhere along here. But no, he no longer exists. So at a speed of 30, I will deploy my fighters in attack mode, anticipating that I will outrun them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hope that I can deal enough damage to him on an overrun that it'll take out his point defense system. That's kind of my plan. FTR-1 not engaged in this fight, although we're heading off the convoy itself. Alright, start to slow down to combat speed. Oh no, the Hornets decided they were going to go off to fight the convoy. HMS Fencer is our target, or IKV Fencer. 81 damage on through. Our forward shields have dropped, unfortunately, and we don't have anything to take on his rear shields at this point. So the first of the convoy vessels has been destroyed. Let's repair the forward shields. Yeah, our fighters decided to go after convoy ships. instead of, you know, doing what we told them to, which would have been to follow through and nail this guy with all their Hellbores and G-type phasers. It would have been fantastic, and he'd probably be dead. Alright, Fighter Squadron, it's time for you to come home. It's you. Let's see if I can get you back in time. It's gotta be close. Oh, pulling my bow through that. That was a very dangerous maneuver. Okay, those missiles are basically worthless. No, don't! Ugh, wasting fire. Wasting fire that I can't afford to waste. A C-7 battlecruiser is a fairly decent ship, unfortunately. Oh, okay, Gatling phaser right on through the hull. So we are doing okay. Not great, though. We have taken some pretty nasty hits. Like I was saying, a C-7 battlecruiser is a very fantastic battlecruiser. It's well equipped, it's fast, it's nimble, as you can see, fairly decently protected as well. It's the sort of battlecruiser that I like to drive, and in fact, during our Klingon campaign, we drove one of these for a pretty decent amount of time. It was our favorite. Let's prepare for a Hellbore bombardment, because we're about to have the shot, and the energy is about to be fully charged. Hellbore's away! Ooh, all three of them missed. Only a defense shift of, well, an attack shift of 1, but yet he was still able to completely defend against all of them. That is very unfortunate. Able to maneuver and avoid that incoming fire there. Phasers first, because the fusion cannons will have to be a follow-up. And the forward shield actually took that one. And let's get the fusion cannons. Port side managed to hit 6 damage on through. Our starboard side is also still ready. Keep the engine repairs going. We are down by a point. And I'm going to launch my fighters off at you. Hopefully they'll actually pay attention and go for it. I'm hoping that by targeting an actual... When I want you guys to go and attack, you decide to hang around and be my defenders. When I want you guys to go after someone in the convoy, you decide that you're going to hang around. Alright, we've got him pretty much dealt with. If they'll actually go away and do what I told them to do. I wanted them to save their Hellbores. Not yet. I was kind of hoping that phaser barrage would actually kill him, but it didn't. Although it wasn't much of a phaser barrage, it was just 2 phasers. So, I don't really have much to finally finish you off. Yeah, it's going to have to be the Hellbores. So let's line up the Hellbores, get all 3 cannons on target. Wait for it, wait for it. I'm waiting. There we go. Alright, tore them apart. Lovely. So let's get our other fighter squadron home, because one of you is at... Yeah, you're almost dead. So you did a good job, mostly, of not doing what I asked you to do, but you did a good job anyway. And we're going to come up here and try and get to these guys. Already the Free Trader has been just utterly blitzed by our fighters, and we are going to have to make chase for the last one. So this fighter squadron will attack this one. Hopefully they will actually continue along the way. And it does appear that they are continuing their aggression, zipping as fast as they can to try and take on this FTR-1. It does have a single missile launcher, but they should be able to handle it. And we are at maximum power, not charging some of our Hellbores, which means our Hornet squadron back here can't quite catch up. Slow down a little bit. Let's let the Hornet catch up. I want to make sure he actually gets on board, so by the time the next mission happens, assuming I can't get back home, we will have someone who will have them back at full power. So they are currently blasting away using their Gatling phasers in very powerful fashion. I believe they're out of Hellbore rounds at this point, so they probably don't have anything left to shoot at them. So they're reliant completely on their Gatling phaser, but they should be cycled fairly shortly. Yep, and they got him. Lovely. Alright, returning all ships, and that should be pretty decent. So going out into the neutral zone area and managing to hopefully take everything that we were looking at. That's the plan. Cross your fingers. 282 prestige, and yes, the tile is taken, giving us a nice, strong defensive location. Let's pull back into our nice, strong defensive location. 72 points of repair were required. We're at 3318, so that's not a terrible amount of prestige. And unfortunately, I'm not seeing an Iron Chancellor. We have a CHYs are now on the field. They are the Cheyenne new heavy cruisers, brand new. 2 fusion, 2 Hellbore, 1 phaser. Wait, these are new? These were produced in 2276, and they have 4 phaser 2s. You gotta be kidding me, that's pathetic. Well, anyway, let's go back to our supplies, make sure we're all topped off. We did lose a single fighter out of our squadrons. Gonna do a quick check. The Hornet 3s are not yet on the field, so we are still reliant on the Hornet 2s, which still have proven to be extraordinarily useful, don't get me wrong. And a couple of Marines, some mines have been used, and a pretty decent number of spare parts. And we are back up to full supply, so let us set back out into what is basically the front line that we've been duking it out over for the past little while. And the first mission up, we will take a patrol because we aren't here to scout, we're here to take command. We're going to actually take this tile this turn, hopefully. And red alert and increased speed. We're currently squaring off against a light cruiser and a frigate. Escorting us today is HMS Excalibur and HMS Hurtle. both of which could probably take both of those vessels on their own. Now, this light cruiser is a more modern version. You can tell by the hull form. This is not one of their base starting ones, but this is one that comes out in the mid-era, and they're pretty solid and reliable, if I'm recalling correctly. He should have four disruptors, 2 expanding sphere generators. He's basically got a heavy cruiser-style armament on a light cruiser, which, frankly, for Lyrans, that's not a whole heck of a lot of firepower, if we're completely honest about things. So let's send a probe, find out exactly what it is we're getting involved with. I'm going to prep a Wild Weasel just out of safety and habit. There is another ship. It is a JG, so I'm going to guess that you might actually be... JGPM. Pseudo-frigate tender. Gotta be. And yep, 4 disruptors, 2 expanding sphere generators, and a pretty decent complement of phasers. So we've got the Wild Weasel prepping. We're going to set up our forward shield to a maximum level. And then we're going to go to electronic countermeasure at the same rate. Pick up a little bit of speed. I'd like to get above the... Actually, really what I'd like to be is about 17 for combat. That should be the perfect maneuvering speed. And I'm assuming you're an older style of ship. I know for a fact that this one is the more modern vessel. So I'm going to focus my efforts on him. Even though I could probably just run over this guy and annihilate him. He's an MP+. I doubt he even has an expanding sphere generator. Odds are he's got a single disruptor and a bunch of phasers. No, I'm wrong. He's got 2 expanding sphere generators. That's pretty impressive, actually. Was not expecting that at all. And incoming fire, which we're able to avoid. Lots of disruptor fire, not able to connect. That's a pretty decent position for you to be in, but I'm not going to bother with you. I'm going after your light cruiser brethren. He's much more deadly to me. And our Wild Weasel has finished being generated. Are you going to use your ESG or what? If you do, I'll blast you. Don't get me wrong. I'm waiting for it. A little bit of fire, but nothing we can't handle. We're going for the... Yep. Take it on the front, point blank range, and nail him with a whole bunch of firepower. That's 45 damage on through. And taking a couple of other bouncing hits, but we're fine. In fact, because he's just used his ESG, fighters... we're going to go attack this. He suddenly had a very, very unwelcome hello. And starting to get shots on the Call of the Wild. Call of the Wild has been shattered. Okay, fighter squadrons. Let's switch over to the Lightning Claw here. So, come over here. Attack. And attack. Just because he's right here next to us, and it should be relatively easy to annihilate him. So phasers and Gatling phasers, opening them up. More Gatling phasers from the fighters themselves. Got some long-range hellbore shots from even more fighters. Really, he just entered the wrong neighborhood. And without an ESG, he has no real defense against what we're spitting out. So we're going to return both of our fighters to the bays. That way they can restock and rearm. And this is also another one of the more modern ones, the JGPM, apparently. Did I just... I must have missed the hull form. So the JGPM not launching any pseudo-frigates, so he's not a pseudo-frigate tender. There's that working for us. Hellbores are about to be ready, although I'd like to have them a hole to crack in so they can just immediately annihilate something. Slow down a bit more. I want my fighters home. And he has initiated ESG, so wait for it. I had been hoping to knock out his ESG using my Hellbores, but it was not to be. Okay, a single one of the fusion cannons managed to get a decent shot, and the Hornet is actually in a really nice position to just fire its Gatling phaser. The question is, will it have an opportunity to do so? We should be traveling more than slow enough for you to get it back on board. Alright, they're back on board. Lovely. So, unfortunately, we are exposing a weaker shield of ours. However, that's not going to last much longer, and I'm not sure he's got any weapons that can shoot backwards on us at the moment. So, we're about to have another phaser barrage ready, although we still have the port side fusion cannon. I was hoping he would turn, but he didn't. 16 damage on through, and the phasers for a follow-up. Gatling phasers. If there was ever a question, the answer is Gatling phasers. They're lovely. Oh, I can't wait until the advanced era where we get G2s, Gatling Type 2s, which are basically phaser 1s that are Gatling phasers. It's amazing. 248 prestige is our reward, and we did manage to take the tile on the assault. We are once again progressing into enemy territory, and they should be scared. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's episode. I've been Tarek. If you like what you've been seeing, hit that like button and subscribe. If you want to see a notification every time I release one of these videos, press that little bell icon, leave a comment, and I will see you all in the next episode.